Okay, with Kelly and Buckley, Mad Selkies is the short film. It's a poetic experimental film from the Experimental Music Dance Film Festival. Really interesting film. So I'm just curious about the you co-wrote it, you did everything, you kind of did the editing, you did the sound design. So this was and this was like so Focal Point Gallery, they're the ones who commissioned for you to do this video.
Well, no, they didn't commission for me to do this. I had a commission prior to
Okay.
this, which was called Echoes in the Fossils, and that was a soundscape project that I did. It was all about lost soundscapes, and there was five parts to that. And then the fifth part was started to explore the idea of a future soundscape, and it was exploring the idea of human polymer hybrids. And so that commission sort of happened, and it was exhibited with the gallery and online, and then I just kind of kept going with that idea and about rising sea levels and what will happen if we become more aquatic.
Mhm.
Um, I started to sort of get really interested in the aquatic ape theory. And I was kind of still looking back at this sort of part five I did of Echoes in the Fossils about this idea of evolving as humans into sort of plastic um, hybrids, because obviously we've got it's common knowledge now that we all have microplastics in us, and also scientists are working with plastic eating microbes
Yeah.
to try and do a good thing. So yeah, it was kind of like a jumbled load of thoughts about, what would happen in the future if we become the food, and these microbes end up, growing and growing and growing, and they eat us. Yeah, it was mixed up thinking. Really, it was about the aquatic ape theory. It was about thinking on an ancestral um, level of ages that have gone and the damage that we've done along the way in the
Mhm.
name of human advancement. And that's kind of really how it all came about. It started because as part of the Echoes in the Fossils project, which was part of the commission, was FPG Sounds. It was like a big sort of year-long project that
Yeah.
gave sound artists a chance to sort of show their work.
Mhm.
And at the end of it, there was a live event. And as part of that live event, I performed Med Selkies, or a version of it, a very early version of it, where I sampled water on stage and did all these kind of things. And so that was really the beginning. It started as a soundtrack, and then I wrote the poem, and then I asked Tom Keenan, who is a screenwriter, to come in, and he does all kinds of writing, and I asked him to help edit the poem because it was very long, and it needed cutting down quite a bit. And he ended up helping he edited it, but he also threw in a few ideas as well about the ages, the the other epochs that are coming in. So yeah,
So you're a sound artist by nature. Like you're if you go to your Instagram, you're a sound designer. Like you do a lot like you're
yeah,
and you can see and so is this your kind of first official film, visual film?
yeah, really. Because, well, I mean, I've worked on films as a composer and
Yeah,
sound designer for other people,
sure.
other people's projects. But I suppose it's not. I mean, I'm always documenting my work. I kind of I as I go. It's it's been sort of like a natural thing. My background is also in journalism, so
Mhm.
I think it's quite natural for me to want to document processes.
Yeah.
And so I have made kind of many micro films that have sort of been quite experimental. Which kind of are led by the sort of sound that I do, but also, I work with visuals as well. I create artwork, which is developed into prints and goes on clothing and stuff like that. So um, I sort of make those mini films, but and also the commission I spoke to you about, that was audio visual, so there was a lot of film involved in that. So it wasn't really my very first, but it was, I suppose, the first one that I intentionally put out to be, an experimental film.
Yeah.
But I wanted it to be very much led by the sound, because I think sound is often hugely undervalued in film. And I just wanted to see
Sound
how
is, yeah, sound's the key
yeah,
to the film. It's half the film, right?
yeah,
It's the subconscious
yeah.
thematic that's
Hmm.
happening in the film, right? You know better than anybody, right? So I'm
Yeah, I just
sure you
wanted
can write
that
a
to
book
be
about
kind
it.
of funny enough. But
You are,
no,
sorry, you are writing a book about it?
well, yeah, it's I'm not. I started to, so
Okay.
I'm not that far into it yet. It's an idea.
No,
It's an
yeah, I
idea.
can totally see it. Okay, so
Yeah.
let's talk about the visuals itself because okay, according to your blog, you got an underwater camera. I don't mean to throw your son under the bus, but he
That's all
lost
right.
the
He
camera,
did.
right?
Yeah, yeah. So I had this
He's forgiven now, though,
360.
right?
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah,
forgiven. Yeah,
yeah,
I was distraught at the time.
yeah,
I had this 360 camera, and I used it actually for the previous commission that I spoke about, Echoes in the Fossils, which this became an expansion of. And so my initial idea was to do something that I'd done in the first part of that other
yeah.
commission, which was to sort of film underwater, and just kind of, I suppose I wanted the visuals to be quite simple as well,
Mhm.
and let the words and the sound really lead it. And anyway, yeah, so I set out to do that. And my son I took down to the beach with me, and he had a go and lost it in the sea. So yeah, so that idea, and then I was already, um, I'd Focal Point Gallery had already said that they were going to put this on their big
Yeah.
screen as part of a different exhibition. And so, I was obviously on a deadline, and I was like, I need footage. So I ended up licensing stock footage, but, obviously it turned out fine. And, I was very happy with it.
So yeah, so then so you license the stock footage from the sea, like there's a little bit of animation in it. They're beautiful images.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I just went on to is it iStock, and just
yeah,
paid to use, some good footage from some professional people that
yeah,
know what they're doing. So yeah, yeah, and I was, it kind of was not a world away from what I had in mind anyway, what I was attempting to do, obviously maybe minus the swords and,
yeah.
some of the really clever stuff there. I wouldn't have been able to do that necessarily. So um yeah, so it kind of it's still, the outcome was still pretty much what I intended.
Yeah, it's great. And so basically, but you knew the poem, you knew it was going to be 10 minutes long with the way the poem was read.
Yeah. Yes.
So
Yeah.
and then so you kind of just needed the add the visuals that thematic visuals that kind of
That
resonated
went
with your sound design.
that went along with the narrative.
Yeah,
And yeah, and what I did is I mean, the composition, as I say, I'd already sort of started to work on that, which is,
yeah,
I started to work on that, as I say, as a live performance thing. It was a different version of it. It was quite different, but definitely the seeds of it all were there. And then what I ended up doing is I had the base of it, but then once all the visuals were put together, then I could obviously sort of score it more to picture and do the sound design to picture. So obviously, where it plunges down underwater,
yeah.
I added a lot more to it from then.
So you how does it feel to like now it's being screened at different festivals. you're done your kind of first official film that you kind of created. How's the feeling? Like, are you?
Yeah, amazing. Because
Yeah,
it didn't occur to me really to sort of put it into a film festival.
yeah,
I think it's only through, I've worked, as I say, I've done a lot of composition and sound design on other filmmakers,
yeah,
professional filmmakers, very mainstream kind of stuff. And, obviously they all, they put it into film festivals. And I think because mine was kind of an art project, an experimental art project, I didn't see it in that way for some
yeah.
reason. And I then sort of became involved in something called Estuary Dreams, which is a project run by a filmmaker called Aaron Shrimpton, who is very much into experimental film himself, although he's also, he does kind of real sort of mainstream stuff as well. Works for sort of brands and all
Mm.
kinds of things. Um, and I sort of thought, oh, okay, well, I have a film. I can maybe enter it into a film festival, see what happens. And I really didn't, I just didn't really expect much.
Yeah.
So the fact that it was selected and the fact that then it won this Best Sounds and Music was amazing. It was amazing to hear the feedback. It was just so amazing. Yeah, we felt really good.
Have you been able to see it at a festival, like on a screen in England?
Yeah, I've seen it. It was shown on something called the big screen, which is at Focal Point Gallery
Yeah.
or outside it, and it's a huge screen. So I've seen it there, um, and it has actually been shown just recently. Actually, it was shown this weekend at a art event, but unfortunately I wasn't there. I couldn't make it. I was somewhere else at a different festival. So yeah, that's the only time so far I've seen it on the big screen. So it's really nice to
Yeah.
feel that.
And so yes, but are you like so you're are you it said the blog interview you're going to work on a feature film now?
Yes, yeah. So Tom Keenan, who I mentioned, who
Yeah.
was the developmental editor on this. He's a screenwriter. He's worked on lots of different projects. He's got lots of different things in development, exciting things. And he had an idea to do a film based on a real life story of a guy called Steve Camps, who is an artist from Cornwall. This is, it's a real story.
Yeah.
This guy was a builder for all his life, really lovely guy, just kind of ordinary in a way, but obviously he's not ordinary, he's quite extraordinary.
Yeah.
Um, and he just decided, he retired, he decided to start painting, doing art for the first time ever, started painting these whales. And they've just gone absolutely crazy. He's made a huge amount of money in a very short space of time, and yeah, done really, really well. And Tom just felt this was a really lovely story. And I have a big love for Cornwall, which is where Steve's from. And also, again, because of my journalistic background,
Mm.
I'm quite keen on writing, stories about real life situations, of course. So Tom said, "Do you want to get involved in this?" And yeah, so I have. So I've got involved in, I've co-written a script with him, which is the first draft's written, and we, yeah, I've been producing it, co-producing it as well. So I've, obviously brought lots of artistic ideas to the table. Hoping to get involved in the music and sound at the end. We'll see. Obviously, it needs
Yeah.
to be right. Um, but yeah, so we're now, we've just been to Cannes Film Festival. We've made lots of positive connections there. And yeah, we're just pushing forward with it really. We're really hopeful. People seem to have, you know, great um reactions to this. They seem to be really interested because it's just a real nice story.
And but one of your themes is about the environment, I guess, right? It's
Hmm.
about kind of championing the
Yes.
environment and the global warm, whatever you want to like, yeah, global
Yeah.
warming and yeah. So is that something that's always been on your mind, like as an artist?
Yes, I suppose so. Yeah, I think, I've always kind of loved nature, and it's just developed more and more as I've got older. And so yeah, it's just a natural, it's a natural, yeah, it's just part of me really. It's just natural that I should sort of work with those messages, I suppose. I
Yeah.
always try to kind of, um well, I say that. I mean, it's not always the case. Lots of stuff I've done that hasn't necessarily been about that. That's usually stuff that I've done for other people.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, I think it's something that I'm just really passionate about, because it's our future.
Yeah. And so like in a sense, like you're kind of evolving, like you're seeing the like because your film, it's there forever, right? Like this film can be there for the rest, like for beyond our years, right? So and it's got a very like timely message, and it's also got a universal message as well. So
Hmm.
there's a power of cinema, I guess, in a sense that
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I
So
guess I guess so. Yeah.
no, so basically, but then you're kind of like that's sort of what you're is that something you're going to focus on is filmmaking in the future?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just gonna go with the flow, I
Go with
think.
the flow. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, as I say, it's a funny one, because I suppose, I've not really called myself a filmmaker, and
Yeah.
I feel a bit of an imposter saying that, because, obviously, working as a composer, or sound designer with who I would consider are actual filmmakers. They're brilliant. I would say I'm an artist that's sort of experimented with
Yeah.
video, um, on my phone, most of the time. So, I've not really thought of myself as a filmmaker in that sense. But I suppose my art has just evolved in this way, and I think I think it is something that I'd like to probably start doing a lot more. It seems to have been maybe an obvious thing, because there's storytelling, which obviously
Yeah.
I'm very much about writing stories. I've been a journalist for 30 years, so that's very much part of me. And uh, I did multimedia studies at college, and so I do visual art, and obviously there's the music and sound design. So I suppose it's quite an obvious thing to have become, but I just didn't really think of myself as a filmmaker
Yeah.
before this,
Yeah.
maybe.
But you are now. You
I
are.
go
That's the
past,
thing.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that, yeah. So keep at it. So basically,
yeah,
but and you kind of had a conflict with the footage, and you kind of just rolled with it, and you kind of figured out what you needed to do, and you knew that the visuals, like it's usually people are complementing the sound with the meaning that they're kind of leading with the visuals, and then they're like, okay,
hmm,
let's do a sound design to what we just shot. But it
yeah,
seems like you're doing the opposite, which is a great way to look at things, right? Like you're going to look at the sound first. I'm just being general, of course, but like
yeah,
you're looking at the sound first, and then it's like, okay, what visuals are we gonna add to it? So it's a really interesting angle to look at from a
yeah,
filmmaking standpoint.
yeah. I mean, as I say, I did. It was kind of, it started with this sort of idea for the composition, a version of it. The story, the narrative sort of grew. So then I wrote the poem,
Yeah,
which of course was then Tom came on and had some input with that. And then I did a lot more with the sound design to
yeah,
picture. So once it was all put together, then I added a lot more to it, a lot more composition, so that it worked with the film. But I really wanted it to be, I wanted to sort of experiment with this idea that sound is really powerful,
yeah,
and so is the story. Because and that's why I didn't want a voiceover going all the way through.
yeah,
I wanted people to just read it and speak in their minds, uh, and um, and hear the actual soundscape itself.
yeah. You
I
did it.
wanted that to lead it. Yeah,
Yeah, you
good.
did it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I wish you the ultimate best of success. I hope that you're going to keep making movies. Like you said, you're going to do the feature, but kind of like even like installation projects like this, I think that
Yeah,
you're really on it. So I think
I'd
that
really like to. I'd really like to, yeah, go down this route. I think we'll
so do it
see.
then.
I will. Thank you.
Um, no, because it's a really special film. I really like it a lot, and it's like
Thanks a
it's
lot.
not.
Thank you.
Sometimes these poetry movies or like environmental movies can get a little pretentious, where like they're trying to tell the audience what to think and feel,
Hmm.
and you're not doing that. You're just kind of showing these visuals, showing the sound design, and then and it's experimental in nature, meaning that we are interpreting whatever we're feeling inside ourselves, right? So that's the best way to look at it. And you did a really marvelous job with that.
Thank you.
There's nothing pretentious about your film at all.
Thank you so much. That really does mean a lot. Thank you.
All right, let's talk again when you make your next film. I really appreciate it.
Well, I hope so. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.